Congratulations, people. You have come to the right place. I have discovered the secret of motherhood. It is knowing when and how to lie. Somehow they've neglected to mention this in every parenting guidebook ever written, but you know as well as I do that lying is a huge part of what we do every day. Starts out with little lies for the sake of self-esteem. That combination of colors and patterns looks great on you. That picture really looks like a tree. Then you move into white lies for personal growth. There are no pull-ups left in the universe. You are just gonna have to use the potty. You lie to protect them in the present. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what the F word is. It's fart. You lie to protect them in the future. No matter where on your body you get a piercing, it hurts for a long time. And there it goes, look them right in the eye and spew absolute bullshit. And for the longest time, it is so easy. You start to get a little power hungry. I once told my toddler that the ice cream I was eating was spicy coffee that she would hate, and she went away. And then at some point, lying gets harder. I'm going to put that moment at around 3rd grade. That's how old my daughter was the day she came home from school, sat down nonchalantly on the couch and said, "Some of the kids say Santa Claus isn't real." Now, I had been perpetuating the Santa Claus lie for years. I'm Jewish, so I was even lying about having to lie about Santa Claus. And this Santa Claus lie is a huge undertaking. It's like running a Ponzi scheme. You have to hide wrapping paper, you move a little elf around the house every night, you pretend you wouldn't be creeped out by an old man in your chimney. And to tell the truth, I was starting to get a little tired of all the work. I mean, this is self-sacrifice. You get 0 credit for picking out just the right presents, finding a parking space at the mall. But I think there's another reason I lost my mojo that day. I looked at my daughter sitting there in front of me, and I realized that she was not a toddler anymore. She was this real person with big front teeth and a brain in her head that I suddenly wanted to respect. She would have seen right through my spicy coffee line. So I said, "Do you want to know the truth?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, the parents give the presents." And she freaked out. "Why did you tell me that?" she said. And thus I learned a lesson. Do not take an 8-year-old child at face value when she says she doesn't want to be lied to. She didn't want the truth about Santa Claus. She wanted the lie, because the lie would confirm to her that she was still a kid. Once I started respecting her, it was all over. So maybe at this point I should have doubled down and laid it all out about the tooth fairy and the stupid elf and the outfit she liked with the stripes and the polka dots. But I'm a wimp, so I backtracked. I said something about how Santa Claus is a very busy guy and he doesn't have time to park at the mall, so the parents have to run errands for him. And then they also do the wrapping because Santa has these big chunky fingers and he has trouble handling the Scotch tape. Now, she just knew I was weak. Because the next thing she did was ask me about how babies are made. Lies about baby making, as you know, are another staple of parenthood, and these are generally lies of omission. I never talked about storks or special UPS deliveries. I was just always really vague. I'd say things like, the mom and dad work really hard, and if everything goes right, pop, there's a baby. It's kind of true, right? But then one day, not long after the Santa Claus incident, my daughter came home with another intense look and said, "So, when you and Dad had a baby, what kind of work exactly did you do?" I told her I'd get back to her, and then I freaked out and told my friends, and one of them informed me that she had a cartoon book on the subject. "I'll loan it to you," she said, "but don't tell my son. He doesn't want anyone to know he knows." I agreed to the terms. We scheduled a transfer. The next morning we passed on the sidewalk on the way to school. She handed me a manila envelope. It felt badass, like a street drug transaction. I took it home, my illicit document, started to read, and oh my God, it was so honest. I mean, it fudged some things, like the cartoon egg and sperm were just smiling at each other like they were on a Match.com date. I think in real life, it's more like the egg is sitting there quietly, reading a magazine, and all of a sudden she hears a stampede. But in its kid-friendly way, this book got into the details. It said, mommies and daddies like to get into bed and take off their clothes and rub up against each other. It feels like tickling, only better. When my daughter got home, I gave her the book. She sat on the couch and read the whole thing. When she was done, she had one question. Dad got on top of you? And then she closed the book, looked at me with this expression of utter disgust, and said, get this out of the house, I never want to see it again. And that was the last time the subject came up. At that moment, I think she decided that she would prefer to be a kid who gets grossed out at kissing and thinks that boys are only useful if they're playing soccer. It's the same with Santa Claus. Today, a year later, she acts like she still believes. I know that, like with babies, she has filed the truth away. She's just decided to pretend that she doesn't know. And I guess that's how you find out that your kids are growing up. They start learning how to lie to themselves. Thank you.